was I'm talking day one. Rest of these niggas out here is just fake, son. Look, you can hate, son. You cannot take, son. I've been in every hood out of my state, son. Out in the streets, I'm steady blazing. Look at me, cut a nigga like I'm Jason. I am the one. This is the Masons. Going so hard that they think I'm an agent. Going so hard that they said I'm a Mason. These are the facts, though. I'm just amazing. There is no other way that I can state them. I earn my spot, it'll never be vacant. These niggas lazy. They got complacent. They wanna love all these fucking Caucasians. How the fuck we gonna rebuild our nation? You niggas feminine. No, it's a makeup. Sorry, but my love is only for Jacob. We had some hard days. We learned some hard ways. Always. Just know that I pray. Get it out the dust. Only thing that I trust. My niggas gon' bust. That's thumbing up the rush. Thinking that you won't get touched. Fuck with my brother get crushed. Been through too much. Always come through in the clutch. Nigga just do what it does. Fuck you thought shit was. Nigga, it wasn't. Know that I do this for dozen. Always kept it 100. Niggas know I never stunning. And I keep shit running. Even on the days when the pain keep coming. Or a nigga fucked up and he feel like nothing. The show goes on. I just keep on trimming my faith. Even on the days I wanna pray. Saying how much I take, still kept my faith. Even when he thinks that fake, even when he feel like a snake, still kept my faith. Some days I ain't even wanna wait. Some days that my heart had aches, still kept my faith. Even on the days I wanna break. Some days that my heart had aches, still kept my faith.
Dark days in my night vision, that's why my heart is a cave and his ice in it. Don't even touch niggas no more, Lord is my witness. These niggas ain't the same, it's a slight difference. Thought a nigga had my back, now it's a knife in it. But now I'm back to the back like it's a knife in it. Still got the pat in the back of the campaign. Taking any given chance to blaze on the white man. Set up into the bottom. Right hand, never losing grip, I understand who I am. Met a minute to show me the right path. Now I rooted in the truth, this room is my plan. And I can never lose sight like an exam. Something saying I was forged by fire, man. In the circle of life, how could I tell you, man? I was undesired, had no one, and then I met these men and it changed how I'm living. They worthless convicted, call that a last sentence. Now I need a witness, but now I'm not Christian. My faith in these Christians, man. I know religion, man. It's like to style, and I'm with my brother Cox's eye. Then you niggas too sweet like baklava. Niggas better not make a nigga bring the choppers out. Better pray for your health like the doctor. Just be vague. One day you'll be thanked. Wonder why they hate. Luckily I got it. I'm so thankful. Yes, I'm so thankful. Used to be ashamed. Even before I think
still kept my faith. Even on the days I wanna break. Saying how much could I take? Still kept my faith. Even when these niggas that fake. Came like a snake. Still kept my faith. Some days I ain't even wanna wait. Some days that my heart had aches. Still kept my faith. Even on the days I wanna break. Some days that my heart had aches. Still kept my faith.
Hey, shalom, shalom, Yahweh Shem Yahshua Barakatha to all the brothers, Yahweh Shemar Alathan Ba'Shem Yahshua to all the sisters. I'm Officers of Baja of the I.S.U.P.K. under Commanding General YAHANNA, started at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, right? This is the What's Going On in Canada podcast, episode 5. And with me, I got Officer 1000 Adiyar coming straight out of Montreal. I have Officer 50 Shariwan, the king of the north, right? He up north, he with us all day, right? Salakia. This is the I.S.U.P.K. Canada, what's going on in Canada podcast. We right back at it. It's Sunday. We got some stories for you, right? We're gonna rock these heavy hidden stories. You're not gonna get these breakdowns anywhere else except for the home of the truth, I.S.U.P.K. That's the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. Let's get it. What do we got today?
Sir. This first article we have, Salakia. This first article we have is an indigenous sister.
Right.
She was shot and killed by the New Brunswick police. This happened last year. And this article is kind of speaking on what's going on a year later.
Right, carry away.
Sir. So the title of this article is Edmondson Police Still Without Body Cameras More Than 1 Year After Shooting Death. And this is a picture of a young sister. She was 26 years old. Her name is Chantel Moore. The article goes on to read, the Edmundston Police Force in New Brunswick did not make a public request for tasers, body-worn cameras, or use of force training in 2020, despite the shooting death of 26-year-old Chantel Moore in June. Global News has learned through a Right to Information and Protection of Privacy Act request.
Wow, so this sister was shot by police, and the police department in that area, they still haven't requested for use of tasers or body cams. Is that what we're hearing?
Sir. And the article will go in a little more depth as to what happened, but to kind of briefly summarize, this sister was shot, and the information that was released from the internal investigation wasn't quite adequate or sufficient enough to put her family members at ease.
That sounds like a regular thing whenever Blacks, Hispanics, or Native Americans are murdered by police officers.
Sir. The article goes on to read, in 2020, Edmundston Police Chief Elaine Lang appeared before the council 4 times. The first appearance was in April 2020 to discuss the implementation of a new mass alert system. The second time was in June 2020 during a closed session for a meeting about the shooting death of Chantel Moore. In August 2020, Lang made a presentation about online criminal record checks. The last appearance was in September 2020 to discuss police discipline during a closed session of council. The details of the 2 closed sessions were redacted apart from the schedule.
Wait. So they had a closed session and they blanked out some of they took notes of this session, but they blanked out some of the notes?
Sir.
I could only imagine what they were talking about.
Sir.
You have to wonder, why would police want to redact, right? Which means you have a document that is printed and they basically go over it with a permanent marker, right? So information is not presented. Why would the police want to redact any information of something they're talking about?
Sir, what it appears so far, the reason this article was released is because we're seeing a year later, basically the police have done nothing in terms of training or implementing any type of new equipment or anything. And the reason that's so important is because the information regarding this sister's death is very minimal.
Right. And Salakia, even when we were reading it before we went live, like the information was extremely confusing. It was confusing. Like you can't usually, if you get a report, you get a clear idea of what happened, right? Even if it's a lie, the police will still make a clear idea of their lie. And with this report, it just doesn't make sense. But we're definitely gonna get into it.
Sir, and if I could, the first article I read, it was said that the police officer saw Chantel Moore on her balcony and then tried to escape her house holding a knife. That was the first report that I read. The second report said the police officer opened the door and Chantel Moore approached him with a knife, threatening him.
Right.
And the official report, which is what's in this article, says the police officer saw her go to her kitchen and pick up a knife.
Right.
So the information surrounding this is very suspect.
Right. That's the correct term for it. It's suspect. It doesn't make any sense, right? Now, Salakia, why was the police going to Chantel Moore's residence?
Sir, I'll go into the next part of the article. It explains that. It says the Bureau's report said on the day Moore was killed, a person made a call to Edmonton's police to ensure the safety of Moore at around 2 a.m.
Salakia. So someone called concerning her well-being, and she ended up murdered.
Sir.
That sounds like regular police business. That sounds like something the police do all the time, right? Now the question is, if this is a wellness check, right? Because that's the correct term for what's happening. If this is a wellness check, why didn't they have some type of doctor who could deal with patients? Because at this point, she's a patient. She's in medical distress, right? And she needs someone to talk her down from whatever breakdown she's going through, right? This is why you need the ISUPK, right? This is why you need the men of the Lord, right? Because when you call the oppressors come and murder you, right? That sister was not supposed to be murdered. That sister was supposed to be talking to like a sister, talk to with love to help her deal with whatever breakdown she's going through. And the way Salakia, this is a First Nation sister.
This is an indigenous sister from originally from British. I'm pretty sure it's British Columbia.
Right. So after the 60s scoop and all that the oppressors have done to our indigenous sisters, why wouldn't she have a breakdown? Of course she would be having a breakdown, right? You treat them like animals, right? You treat our brothers and sisters like they are nothing. Of course, they might be going through it. She might be going through a stressful situation, right? She was supposed to have a doctor talk to her. Some negotiator, some type of person who knows how to deal with people who are going through mental distress, right? Instead, they sent a murderer to her door, someone who is afraid of their own shadow.
Sir. And Salaki, if I may, just read the events that is officially recorded as to what took place.
Right.
Sir. It reads.
If I may, please.
Salakia, sir.
And we have an indigenous sister.
Salakia, sir, you are breaking up. But while we're in between, let's give a shout out to the chat. We have a sister. We got two sisters. Mindy Mindas, right? She's saying she's an indigenous sister. Shalom, sis. We have Pa. Shalom, sis. The water for tuning in.
Sir. I can hear you.
God. You hear me, right?
Sir.
God. And this shows that our lives don't matter.
Salakia, sir, you are breaking up at the moment. Officer Adiyar is breaking up at the moment. He'll be back with us in a second. The oppressor is the devil the Bible speaks of, right? And his internet is it's a thing where when they don't want you to speak, they're not gonna let you speak, right? Officer Shariwan, you can continue with the story.
Salak. The white man is the damn devil the Bible speak of, man.
Right, sir.
But you understand, the life of our sister don't matter, and this is what, just like Officer Azerbaijan was putting out, don't call the cops. Of counseling. Call Officer Shawan. You understand? Call Officer your right. You understand?
Right.
Call the I.S.U.P.K, the men of the I.S.U.P.K. They would call us. You understand? This same type of story happens over and over again. You call cops.
Right.
You understand? Some brothers in distress, some sisters in distress. The police show up. What happens to our brother or sister? They get killed. You understand? They don't even call the ambulance. They don't call somebody, I mean, like a psychiatrist, you understand, somebody that would deal with that type of situation. They don't call these people. They just call our brothers and sisters, man. You understand? Don't call the cops. Call us. Understand? We'll counsel that sister. We'll counsel that brother. We'll show them exactly how to move in this life, how to operate. You understand? We'll take them away from depression. We'll take them away from suicidal thoughts, man. Understand? Call us, man. Don't call the cops, man. It's a lot, please.
Right, Salakia, sir. Just to add on to what you're saying, that is definitely heavy. Like, you're supposed to call wise men for counsel, right? Like when we have our brothers and sisters in situations where they're having nervous breakdowns, you gotta call the superheroes, right? Who are the brothers and sisters in the ISUPK. That sister should have known a sister in the ISUPK. She could have called that sister, would have called a man above her, and we would have made sure that sister was not murdered. Right, Officer Shariwan, what else do we got in this story? You were about to break down the events that led up to our sister being murdered.
Sir. This article goes on to read, when police arrived, Moore allegedly opened the door to her apartment holding a knife and walked toward the police officer. The officer allegedly stepped back and asked Moore to drop the knife. When that didn't happen, he fired 4 times.
Right. That officer is a damn coward, right? I thought officers were trained to disarm knives. What happened to all that training? You have a bulletproof vest on, a taser, you have mace, and you're telling me you're a man and you cannot disarm a sister with a knife? That man is a coward and a murderer.
Right.
Salakia, sir, if I may.
Right.
I'm just thinking of that one verse that says, oppression makes a wise man mad.
Right.
And I just bring that up to say, like, some of these stories are very hard for me to bring up. You understand? Like, just reading through the events that took place, it's like this sister had no reason to lose her life that day. Right? She's a 26-year-old woman. She had a 6-year-old daughter. And
good night.
there's so many other ways that this situation could have been dealt with, right? Rather than her being shot 4 times by a police officer. Salakia.
Salakia, if I may add, I need all Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, stop calling your oppressors for help. They do not help you. Call your people, right? Like, listen, you could have called anybody, any one of us. We would have made it out to that sister to make sure she gets the help that she needs. I could assure you right now, none of the men in front of you right now are afraid of a knife wound.
Damn right.
We're just not afraid, right? So Salakia, like, damn, she had. Lord be with her and her family. Salakia. So this officer shot her 4 times, right? Now let's say he shot her 4 times. That is 4 shots. He wanted to kill her, right? A simple shot in the leg, a simple shot in the shoulder, if he needed to pull the trigger, would have subdued her, right? Where was the taser, right? Again, where's all the riot gear from the G20 summit? Right, Salakia. Officer Shariwan, can you get me Salakia?
Salakia, sir. I think Officer Adia was trying to say something.
Khan, Salakia, sir.
Yeah.
Khan, sir.
Khan, sir.
And just to add up on what Officer Zabadi was saying, we don't fear knife fear, right? But we don't even fear death. Those police could say, you know what, I fear for my life. We don't fear.
Right.
Right. Salakia, sir. So right, so we don't fear death, and wow, Salakia, I'm trying to say this the best way. We were all children at one time, and when we were young, they used to tell us that police officers are the heroes. They would tell us police officers are the superheroes, right? Now you think of superheroes, you think of Batman, Superman, and whatever comic book cartoon character you thought of. Well, Batman was never afraid of death, right? If how is a superhero supposed to be afraid? How is a police officer afraid of death? Right? You're afraid. Put down that badge. Put down that gun. You are not suitable for the job.
All right.
Officer Shariwan, can you get me John 8:44? Babu Kashah.
Khan, sir. Salakia. This is the book of John, chapter 8 and verse 44. Ye are of your father the devil,
right,
and the lust of your father ye will do. He was a murderer from the beginning.
Right. Our oppressors are murderers, right? Since Cain, they were murderers. Cain was the first recorded murderer, and they were murderers from the beginning, right? Our oppressor has that spirit of Cain. Read.
And abode not in the truth, because there is no truth in him.
Right. Our oppressors, they don't have love. They don't have any compassion for us, right? They will tell lies. That whole story of she threatened him on the balcony, then he opened the door and she walked to the kitchen to get a steak knife. In another article, we read that she opened the door and already had the knife in her hand, right? There's no truth or love in our oppressor.
Right.
Right. You can finish out that precept.
Come. When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own, for he is a liar and the father of it.
Our oppressors are liars. They are not going to come with body cameras. They're not going to request for tasers, right? And half the time they turn their body cameras off, right? And then they give you a conflicting story that doesn't match with what the video says. 10 times out of 10, the oppressor is going to say something. You're going to watch a body camera and it's not going to be what was in the report. Right, Salakia, Officer Adiyar, Officer Shariwan, if you have anything else you want to add to this story.
La, sir.
Khan. All right, I guess we can get the next one.
Khan, sir. Salakia. So this next article,
right.
Salakia. This next article that we have is a man from Montreal who was just convicted I believe, of raping a young girl. Let me just pull that article up.
Good night.
Salakia, he exploited a young girl.
So Salakia, I was about to say before you put up that article, we need to play the game. Guess which race that is. Salakia. Good night. Shout out Trooper Barack Allah, the water for tuning in. You can carry on with the article.
Sir. So this article says Montreal man sentenced to 18 years for sexually exploiting young girl from Africa. Sylvian Vilmer paid to bring 8-year-old girl from Africa to Canada, then abused her for 3 years.
Good night. That is a terrible thing. That child is destroyed. She's not going to have a productive life. Like, she had this devil, this monster, right? He was abusing her for 3 years. That sounds just like our oppressors. That is the trait of our oppressor.
Sir, and Salakia, sir, if I may, just under this man's portrait, it tells you a little bit of who he was and what he was doing.
Let's get it.
Sir, it says Sylvian Vilmer, a 60-year-old former high school counselor in Montreal.
Wait. Say that again.
60-year-old former high school counselor in Montreal.
There are definitely going to be more stories coming out about this man, and we're probably going to find out that he's done this to many young women.
Good.
Right.
Yes, sir.
You can continue.
Salakia, sir. These are the people we work with.
Right.
These are the people that some of us have our kids going to their schools, right? Like this is who they are. This is their nature, right? And we see history. Like, history proves who these people are. All these articles that we bring out, like, this proves exactly who the devil the Bible speaks of. Right? Son of perdition. Right? Salakia.
If I may add, Salakia, sir, were you saying something? Right. If I may add, right, this sounds like exactly the same thing that was happening to many of the Gadite children in residential schools, where you have someone of authority who's supposed to be a righteous person, right? Posing as, you have a wolf in sheep's clothing, posing as they're righteous, only to be devouring the sheep behind the scenes. All right, we can continue with this article.
Sir. A former Montreal high school counselor was handed an unprecedented sentence of 18 years Wednesday morning for sexually exploiting a young girl from the time she was 8 to when she was 11 years old. Sylvan Billmore, 60, was found guilty earlier this year of sexually exploiting a minor, human trafficking, and possessing child pornography.
Salakia, wait. He was handed an unprecedented sentence of 18 years. I had to go look up what unprecedented means. It says never done or known before, right? So you're saying there's been molesters who've been molesting children and violating children, and they've never had an 18-year sentence before, right? That explains why there is so much molestation, so much crime that our oppressor does. right? Because no one's policing them. No one's handing out the righteous judgment that they're supposed to get.
So like I appreciate if I may add, right?
Khan, sir. Khan, how do one Khan?
And this dude, this ego might look like, you understand, the normal sugar daddy. I'm gonna talk about this for every sister that's in Montreal, right? A lot of you in Montreal have sugar daddies. Understand? You have a white man that pays your bills. You offer him sex. You go. He brings you to the restaurant and everything. Pay your cars and so on, right? Buy you nice things that you don't even bring home. You keep over there at his house. Well, you know what? Your sugar daddy is exactly like that. You understand?
Right.
Doing the
Officer Shaiwan, bring up his picture again.
Come on. So what? It's exactly like this. But a lot of you, I've seen a lot of sisters exactly. I got a sugar daddy, and that's the image that I see. Your sugar daddy looks like this. It is the same thing. Molesting children, being a pedophile. Well, you know what? As long as you get money, you don't care about what he does outside. As long as he pays your bills, you don't care about that little. You understand that? Not that we care about the Amite, but this is the crime that those Edomites are doing. If it happens to the Amite, just like Officer Zabadja was saying, it happens to the
Right, sir.
to us. It happens to the Gadites. It happens as well. This is who you trust. This is who you put your trust in. Understand? Now think about that the next time you're gonna say, well, you know what, I got daddy, I'm looking for a sugar daddy. That's what that have that picture in your mind. Have exactly this devil in your mind. So like it, please.
Right, Salakia, sir, that was heavy. That was really heavy, right? And what I got from what you're saying, sir, is the same man who will pay for sex is the same man who will pay for sex and kidnap minors.
Come. Understand? You don't have morality. You go. You understand? Beyond the board. You go doing more and more because you don't have morality. You like morality, and somebody that likes morality, there's no stopping to his immoral act. You understand? There's no stopping to his immoral actions. Understand? So we got to really be careful, and this is why the men in the I.S.U.P.K are such a treasure in Canada, such a treasure in Toronto, such a treasure in Montreal, because we keep that morality, man. You understand? We're not going to do the same thing that those Edomites are doing. We're not going to do the same thing that those Amites are doing. We have morality in the I.S.U.P.K. You understand? Matter of fact, Salakia also. Matter of fact, a lot of black Pan-African that white people, right? But they're not going to blame polite. You're an hypocrite, man. You're an hypocrite. Whatever it is, white, black, yellow, green, we don't care. You understand? Touching a child should be illegal, and it's a punishment. You understand that you could die. It's something that you should die for, man. You understand?
Right.
Molesting, you understand? Raping, something to die for. You understand?
Right. That's heavy, sir. Like if you abuse a child,
but like the officer was bringing up, this is like, you understand? Just like that, I'm gonna just say this: you can charm it and not expect to be bitten. You understand? To be bitten by the snake. You understand? That's in the Bible. So like the officer.
Right. No, that's definitely heavy. If you play with snakes, you will get bitten, right? And if you abuse a child, the Lord shall take your life. The Lord should take your life, right? Now, we're not telling anybody to go out and start hunting down men who abuse children, women who abuse children, right? But let the Lord do it. The Lord is going to give this man his punishment. Right. Is there anything else anybody else wants to add to this article?
So like that was it. So like it.
Khan, Officer Shaywan, can you get Hebrews 12 and 16, Baba Kasha?
Khan, sir. This is the book of Hebrews chapter 12 and verse 16. Lest there be any fornicator or profane person as Esau.
As who?
As Esau.
As our oppressors.
As Esau.
Right? The same European man that we're looking at right now. The same man who's responsible for kidnapping thousands of indigenous children, right? And putting them in residential schools, cutting their hair, forcing them not to speak the language they spoke, erasing their culture, right? That man, Esau.
Who for one morsel of meat sold his birthright.
Right. There is nobody as profane as Esau, right? This man had a birthright. He sold it for a little bit of food and got mad and wanted to kill his brother right after. And ever since has hated his brother, right? And these are the people that are in rulership over Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans because you don't want to keep the laws of your father, right? You don't want to be governed by the men of the Lord, right? So you have to be governed by a child murderer, by an oppressor who utterly hates you, a sexual deviant who rides down the street naked during the month of June. All right. If we don't got anything else that Officer Shah, you want, Officer Adiar, y'all don't want to add anything else to this article, we can go on to the next story.
Sir.
All right. What do we got next? The next story, we're gonna go into the race. Let's get that story on the race.
Sir. So what we have up next is a video on the 100-meter race that included Carri Richardson.
Right. Let's get that.
Sir.
And now you see her amongst the 9 women in this race.
Right. So you can hold that pause this video for a quick second, right? So this sister that you see in the middle in the blue, right? Carri Richardson, she's a Judite who was supposed to run in the Olympics. Her mother passed away, and instead of getting righteous counsel, whoever she was around in the world, they set this sister up, right? Whoever she was around in the world, didn't have any love for her, and they allowed her to smoke weed, right? She was tested for this weed, and she was banned from the Olympics for her event. She didn't get to compete. And every celebrity, every simpleton sympathizer, instead of saying she was wrong for smoking the weed, turned around and said, let her run, let her race, right? They didn't tell her that, listen, sis, you shouldn't have done that. There are consequences for your action. It seems like there are people who never want to hold sisters, brothers, who never want to hold people accountable, right? Especially when it comes to sisters, right? But in the I.S.U.P.K, you are not above the law and you will be held accountable for your actions, right? And she learned a very hard lesson, right? And we pray that she gets the counseling that she needs. Right, so we're gonna watch what she was supposed to do in the Olympics. We can continue.
Okay.
The Olympic trials here in June, but the evening after that race, she tested
positive. Bring it to the 2-minute mark.
Okay, sir.
Richardson said she didn't think that she would be nervous coming into this race, but wants to perform well, and she is sandwiched between the 2 greatest Jamaican sprinters ever.
And arguably 2 of the best ever. So before this race even starts,
let's give Benjamin a hand.
Women's 100. And it's starting to say, Fraser Price. Thompson Law, Richardson being left behind, and out front the Olympic champion.
Yeah, Salakia, pause it. You bring it right back to the part, just right before they cross the finish line, and you could leave it paused right there.
God counselor.
No. That right there, that's a good image. This is her deep in the back, right? I guess that gas that you like to smoke is not as gas as you thought it was. It is not premium. It didn't help her cross the finish line. Right. You can leave it right there. Salakia. Officer Shaywan, can you get me diggeth up evil?
Counsel.
Salakia, 1 second. Let me see if I can find it for you. It's Proverbs 16 and 27.
Counsel. This is Proverbs chapter 16 and verse 27. An ungodly man diggeth up evil, and in his lips there is as a burning fire.
This is your precept for smoking weed. If you smoke, you are ungodly. It's not godly. It's not something the Most High wants you to do. Smoking weed destroys your lungs, right? And she hasn't raced for a month, but she still should have been able to keep up with these Benjamite sisters, with all the hype that they gave this sister, all the begging that they did for her to race, and she came dead last, right? An ungodly man diggeth up evil, right? Like, you're not supposed to be smoking that gas. It's not gas. Listen, it was like a parachute on her. She wasn't able to run. Right. Salakia, was that the rest? Was that it for the precept?
Counsel.
Right. You could bring us to the 4-minute mark.
Counsel.
Carri, what was your expectation as you came out here today to face these ladies from the Olympic Games?
Coming out today, it was a great return back to the sport. I wanted to be able to come in before, having a month off, dealing with all I was dealing with. I'm not upset at myself at all. This is one race. I'm not done. You know what I'm capable of. Tell me out if you want to. Talk all the shit you want, because I'm here to stay. I'm not done.
Pause it. You can just pause it. You could just pause it. Look at this sister. You can tell she's going through something, right? The Lord was not with her in this race. First off, she looks like an oppressor, right? Sisters, wear all that weave you want. Wear pink, wear green, wear orange, wear some purple. Do not put that blonde weave on. You are not Becky. You are greater than Becky, right? If we go back, Salakia, go back to that mark just before. Go back to the 2-minute mark, and you can just pause it.
Okay.
Play it for a quick second.
Said she didn't think that she would be nervous coming into this race, but wants to perform well, and she is sandwiched between the
All
two.
right, so hold that right there. Pause it right there. You could just look at this for a second. She is the only woman of color. Now, I'm not going to call all these women sisters because I'm not sure if there's Hamites on that line or not. But just for the sake of argument, this sister is the only sister with blonde weave in her head, right? You're not supposed to be like the oppressors, right? Salakia, Officer Shayuan, get me envy, not thou oppressor.
Okay, sir. This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 3 and verse 31. Envy thou not the oppressor, and choose none of his ways.
Right. You're not supposed to want to look like the oppressor, be like the oppressor, and live like the oppressor. The Lord gave you your own culture, your own garments and leaves to dress yourself in. But you want to go put on the leaves of the other trees, of the other nations, right? You want to look like the person who had your people in slavery, right? The people that dumped crack cocaine into your neighborhoods, right? This is terrible. And And the next thing is, why is it every time our sisters race, they have to be half naked? They have to have no clothes on, right? Is no man wants this for his daughter. The Lord doesn't want to see his princesses half naked, running like animals for the oppressor.
All right.
Right? Anybody else have any? You could get rid of that. Anybody else have anything else they want to add on to it? Salakia, sir. Officer Adiyar, we were talking about the Judite sister who was banned from smoking weed. She was banned from the Olympics for smoking weed, and she ran against some Benjamite sisters from Jamaica, and they blew her out the water. And she was just there in a long blonde wig, looking like something hideous. Salak, I think Officer Adiyar is breaking up again. Officer Shayuan, did you have anything you wanted to add on to this story?
La, sir. It's just la, sir. No, sir.
Khan. Let's get to our last story of the afternoon.
Khan, sir. This last article that we have here.
Salak, y'all can hear me?
Fine, sir. We can hear you.
Sir.
Fine, sir. We can hear you.
All right, so like it's chopping up real bad over here. But I just wanted to add up. Well, that sister was, you understand, that was smoking weed. Maybe she give up the weed. She have more cardio than like it.
God.
It wasn't gas, sir. That was not the 91 premium, sir. Salakia. That did not cost 140 a liter. That she did not have that 140 a liter in her tank. Good night. Like the rest of the sisters were running on that 140 a liter. They had that 91 premium, and she was on the electric scooter. So good night.
That's that grass.
Right. All right. Let's get to our next story. Salakia.
So this last story that we have is OnlyFans to ban sexually explicit content.
Let's give the Most High a hand for that one. OnlyFans, they're about to ban prostitution. Like, let's just call it what it is. OnlyFans is banning electric prostitution. Right? Let's kind.
If I may, the first thing that came to mind when I saw this article is what happened to all those sisters that were trying to make this their career.
Right.
The Most High shut all that down. So
right. You know what? This reminds me. There's an effeminate brother, right? He's famous for telling sisters they're not worthy of a high quality man. Well, listen, the only high quality men are in the I.S.U.P.K, right? But I was watching a video with him one time, and he basically was getting at these girls on OnlyFans, and he was telling them, right? You can't be on OnlyFans because it's not gonna last, right? Aside from that, he heard that from the men of the Lord. Right, he heard that from the men of the Lord. Right, you could definitely listen. There is the Toxic Masculinity podcast from Captain Soccer War, right, where the man above us, he talks about what sisters are supposed to do righteously, right? And OnlyFans is not righteous, and it's definitely heavy what you said, Ak. What are these sisters going to do now? Right? I guess you got to start filling out those McDonald's applications.
God.
Right. Let's get into this article real quick.
Town concert. It reads, site has 130 million users and 2 million content creators who collectively earned $5 billion last year.
Right. Now, out of the 2 million content creators, not all of them are women doing sexual content, but majority of them are, and they collectively earned $5 billion last year from electric prostitution. What else do we got? Let's go into the story some more. Let's find out why they're banning OnlyFans.
Concert. OnlyFans, a site where fans pay creators for their photos and videos, is planning to ban sexually explicit content. OnlyFans has become famous as a platform where sex workers can post nude photos and videos and get paid in a relatively safe manner.
Right. So now, brothers, what the hell are you doing paying for nude photos and videos of women on the internet when there are sisters outside that listen? All you gotta do is say you're beautiful. Right now, that's not saying that you just go sleep with any woman and you sleep with her and throw her away. But there are sisters who desperately want husbands. Right? There are sisters who want husbands. What are you doing paying for naked photos online? Read.
Come. Salakia.
No sweat.
And also for celebrities to interact with people on a personal level. The ban on sexually explicit content will start October 1st and is the result of requests from banking partners and companies that handle financial transactions.
Oh, okay. So it's not the people who run OnlyFans who suddenly had a moral conscience, right? The bank is now saying we're processing too many of these transactions, right? Too many of these transactions are going through. We don't want to do this no more. Right, and that's what it sounds like. There was a Edomite who I think she got like she put out some new photos of herself, some actress, and I think she cleared like 2 million in a couple hours. Right, and OnlyFans was like, damn, well, how do we process these payments? Right, but as of October 1st, 2021, the Most High is going to shut down the sexual content on OnlyFans. Sisters, what are you going to do now? Right? You got to go get a job. Now it's time for you to go find a husband, right? But is he going to want you after he's seen your OnlyFans? After he found out what you were doing? Right? It's time, sisters, you got to get in this school and not be a whore. Not be some object of lust for your oppressor. Is it? What else do we got in this article?
Right.
Concept. It reads, still nudity is okay if it's consistent with the company's policy. It's not clear what the policy is, and the company did not reply to questions. OnlyFans said it will be sharing more information in coming days.
Right. We could drop that right there, right? So they still don't have a moral conscience. It's just there's something going on with OnlyFans, the platform, and the financial institutions that handle the payments. And now we got to figure out what's going on, right? They're going to definitely these sisters are going to have to find something else to do, right? Deuteronomy 23:17 tells you that the daughters of Zion are not supposed to be whores, right? I can't. Baba Kashar, Officer Shariwan, can you get me Proverbs 31:10?
Oh God, sir. This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 31 and verse 10. Who can find a virtuous woman? For her price is far above rubies.
Right. Who can find a virtuous woman? Brothers, you are not going to find a virtuous woman on OnlyFans, but you will find them in the I.S.U.P.K under Commander General YAHANNA. General YAHANNA, he's raising up princesses. He's raising up righteous women, right? And those women need husbands, right? Like a righteous sister has a husband over her, and she's not busting it open on OnlyFans. She's not abusing herself with everything under the kitchen sink. Salakia, anybody else have anything else they want to add to this? Don't let me hog up all the time.
Salakia.
Come on, sir. Salakia, Officer Shariwan.
Come on, sir. Salakia, I did have one verse I wanted to bring out.
Come on.
This is Isaiah chapter 5 and verse 20. And it reads, woe unto them that call evil good,
Right.
and good evil.
Right.
That put darkness for light and light for darkness. That put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. Right? The Most High is saying death and destruction. Right? Death and destruction to people who go on OnlyFans and use it to look up girls who are naked. Right? Or sisters who go on OnlyFans to make money off selling their body. Right? The Most High is going to reward us for good, and the Most High is going to reward us for evil. Right? We're judged for everything that we do. Right? And it would be wise for us to stay off pages like this.
That's definitely true, right? Like the Most High is going to reward you for the evil that you do. You're gonna have to pay for your crimes, right? It's not a good thing to see your sister. Like, okay, I was in on the Clubhouse the other day, and there was a room that said, what are you going to do when your son sees your OnlyFans? And I jumped in that room for a second just to hear the perspective of our sisters and of the other women who were in the room, and it was not good. They just don't care, right? Like what you got, women think you got to think about what your children are going to find out. This is the age of the internet. They know how to use this technology. There's going to be videos coming out that your children are going to see, and you're gonna have to face the judgment for that, right? So they are banning sexual content. Damn near porn. There is porn that people create and put it on OnlyFans, and that is getting banned, right? And again, that is, we got to give the Most High a hand for that one, right? Now what we need is all the other adult entertainments to be shut down, totally destroyed. Right? It needs to be totally destroyed. Right. But with that said, this has been another episode of what's going on in Canada, episode 5. If anybody else wants to add anything else real quick before we close out, we could do that now.
So like if I may,
Sir.
Don't forget that we have classes in French as well on I.S.U.P.K Quebec. I.S.U.P.K Quebec, for everybody that speaks French out there, we have classes in French. We days from 5 to 6, where we show each other the New Testament is for the Israelite and Israelite only. And also we have on Thursday, the law class on Thursday on I.S.U.P.K Canada, on I.S.U.P.K Quebec, as well in French from 6 to 8 p.m. And for those that speak Creole, for all my Levites, for class tonight on I.S.U.P.K IET, which will be at 8 p.m. tonight. All right, so don't miss it. Share, like, and share. Yeah, all right. So what?
No, I in the bar, sir. No sweat. Let's not forget, check out I.S.U.P.K Canada, I.S.U.P.K Quebec on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Periscope, TikTok. We're on all social media. Check us out. Subscribe, like, comment, right? Share these videos to all of your friends and family. Right. And once again, shalom to all the brothers and sisters for watching. We are the I.S.U.P.K Canada under Commanding General YAHANNA. Right. This has been another episode of What's Going On in Canada, the podcast. The water for tuning in.